Day 25, meal number one. Got up this morning, felt terrific. Got on the meditation cushion a little bit, breathing in, breathing out. There's this little tiny space between when we are in our kind of sleeping consciousness and when we wake up into our waking consciousness. There's a little gap right there. That little space, it's really nice to ease into that slowly when we begin to wake up and to see if we can carry forward that sleeping consciousness, yet adding our wakefulness to it with a little bit of breathing practice and a little bit of just kind of putting our mind on like tiny little things that feel very satisfying, like the feeling of the sheets, like the feeling of being able to just move a little bit and just finding this little satisfaction in tiny little things upon our waking, right? So that we're starting our day instead of the day starting us. What happens is eventually the thinking from the prior day, whatever we practice, gets stronger. And that thinking will kind of rise up and kick back in. And so it's really nice to work with this little gap and make it bigger and bigger and bigger just with our breathing practice and have a little stillness. Move a little bit slow in the morning so that we can transform our momentum in a purposeful direction. I'm not saying anything bad. I don't want to get in a fight with the old momentum. It is what it is that I practiced yesterday and the day before. But this is now. This is my and our opportunity to find a greater sense of deliberateness, a greater sense of purpose, a greater sense of awareness and wakefulness right here in the here and now. This is our opportunity to transform and be really the best that we can be. We can be anything you want, anything we want. So here we are. We're using food as our medicine. We are wanting our body and mind to be in optimal balance and harmony. And we're bringing our intention to it like we already have it. Not like it's going to happen later. Like I want my A1C to be like a certain number. No, let's just put our mind to balance. Right now, breathing in and breathing out, knowing that our body is always working for this place of balance, achieving balance, always working. Here we are, meal number one. Now, last night, I did in fact have a bite of Silvana's sandwich. There was a little bit of bread in that. It was very delicious. I noticed that one bite, I wanted to have another, so I had another tiny little one. I had 2 bites. That was part of my meal last night. Then I had a little more soup. So let's just say meal 5 was 2 bites of Silvana's sandwich, which came like 5 minutes after the first meal. And then a little bit later, it was 2 more bowls of soup, and slept really good, felt really good, woke up feeling really good. And so now what are we going to do here for meal number 1? I've got 2 egg whites with a little bit of yolk left in it and about a cup of vegetables. I cooked that with about half a teaspoon of avocado oil. And so at the same time here, while I'm having breakfast, I'm going to make, using some of the broth from those 3 epic soups. Well, this is the broth from the Cat's Deli salami. It has onions, celery, some peppers in it. It's a really awesome broth. I'm going to add, it's about a half a cup of dried vegetables, and I'm going to rehydrate these and let these just sit. And that's good. Those are going to expand up to be maybe about a cup or a cup and a half of vegetables. So in here we have onions, leeks, broccoli, green beans, cabbage, peas. No, that's the cabbage. That's the celery. And this here is the spinach. Okay, so there I've got my lineup. Oh wait, what happened here? I've got the enemy is here. The enemy. We make friends with our enemy. So the enemy looks a lot like our Sheena here. We make swords out of bamboo. This looks like bamboo, but it's not. What is it? It's sugar cane. It's not really the enemy, not in this form. But imagine taking, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 huge stalks of this sugar cane, stripping off the outside bark, getting at the inside, smashing it up, cooking it down, and out of that maybe 3 or 4 stalks, we're going to get a good heaping tablespoon of sugar, right? Now, the old-fashioned way is we'd be cutting this and peeling this back and kind of taking some of the center out, chewing on it, and there would be a sugary taste, right? It'd be like really actually a small amount of sugar, and it'd take a lot of work. This is very hard. This is really, you have to work at it. If I use my teeth to peel this back, or if I use, it's tough. If I use a rock to smash it down, I can pull some of the strands of the sugar out. We can use our teeth. I don't know, people like dentists are saying like, don't do that. It's a little bit of a sweetness, right? That comes from this sort of very, fibery inside. So how could this be the enemy? Well, this isn't the enemy. This is sugar in its rawest form. We make sugar out of this, or we can also make it out of beets or make it out of corn. So just think about, to get an actual tablespoon of sugar, we have to process a whole lot of stuff and condense it down into a tiny little speck. Okay, how can that be good in no matter what it is? If we get a whole bunch of stuff, condense it down into a tiny place, and then put that in our body, we're not actually made for that. We're not made to eat 10 stalks of sugar cane without working. We're made to work, and then to eat, and then to rest and play. Work, rest, and play in a cycle. All right. So the sugar cane here is not the enemy. A shinai, a sword, is not our enemy either. This is our friend. This is an extension of the center of our body and our mind and our spirit. I love swords, everything about swords. To me, sugar cane looks a lot like a shinai. Looks a lot like a sword. I can make a sword out of this. Maybe we'll have little kids in our program make swords out of sugar cane. Put them to good use, right? And to think more about what we're actually doing, all right? So here I have my breakfast of some eggs and some vegetables, and I have a lot of dried vegetable goods, and we're going to rehydrate it in our broth. We're going to let this sit. This will be meal number 2. It's a tiny soup that I made with all these different ingredients. And when you have a pantry set up like we have over here and behind here, where we have everything under the sun, it makes cooking super easy and fun. And it's kind of like caveman style. You know, our caveman and cavewoman ancestors had a lot of dried stuff. So you imagine, like, say living near the shore, you're going to fish. You're going to eat a lot of fish. So you can dry and smoke the fish. It's going to save for a pretty long while. You could pack it in salt. That's going to take the water out, and it's going to prevent bacteria from setting in. So salted fish would be something that would be help our ancestors get through the winter. Dried stuff, okay, people who can make the best baskets and the best pots could save the most food. So basket making, pot making was hand in hand with our survival, working together as a team, hunting together. Our sense of community, our sense of tribal identity helped us to survive. Let's get back in touch with our caveman and cavewoman-like nature. And let's eat more like our caveman and cavewoman ancestors. We got to have Sven and Gertrude come sometime and check in with us on this. I can see if I can get them to come sometime. In the meanwhile, I'm going to get on to meal number 1. I've got meal number 2 ready. I've got meal number 3 potential over here, which is this, what is almost half a cup of nuts. I have a little backup plan of my bag of nuts. If I step out, I'll take that with me, so I'll have some food. And I've got one more thing I made here I mentioned yesterday. So Silvana helped out with this. She chopped a lot of cucumbers, zucchini, peppers, onions, a little bit of carrot, and then there's some dried onion, some dried, the carrots aren't out here, there's some dried peas, some dried red peppers, some dried green peppers, and those all rehydrated with the balsamic vinegar. And this is like really delicious. It has almost a sweet flavor because of the balsamic vinegar, but the flavors of the vegetables are not masked. You can taste the flavors of the unique and different vegetables. And so this will also form part of the meal structure for the day today. And there we have it, day 25, meal number 1, 2, and 3, and maybe 4 all right in front of me. We have good use of the broth from yesterday. Certainly we're going to have more soup today as well as part of our meal. I think I'm ready to go to have a great day. I think what I'm going to add here is this. I have this matcha tea that I added some lemon lift to with matcha tea. It's really interesting. I've got some over here on my shelf. Matcha is a very interesting tea. It's up next to the Brazilian coffee. And, it's a thick green powdery substance here from Central and South America, right? But matcha, you use an interesting little straw. So I got a fancy one here, right? It has a filter at the bottom. And so you put that in, and I usually add some bags of lemon tea, and you drink it through the straw, like that. Your hot water over your matcha, and you've got a little filter at the end of your straw. So I'm going to have a little bit of matcha tea as well as some coffee today. And that's my meal setup. I hope you have a super great day. In fact, let's just have a great day, because we can put our mind there and intend it into existence. All right. Have a great day. I'll see you in a few hours.